Tell me, Skip, when was the first time we met? I'm not sure I can remember back that far.
Well,
A long time
it
ago.
must have been 77, 78.
Yeah, I kind of remember the first interview, which I thought was really bizarre because you laid a bunch of psychic stuff out on a table and said, "What do you think of that, Joe?" And I said that something like, "Well, I think it was important enough to investigate," or something.
Yeah, and you started talking about your near-death experience in Germany. What we were looking for was the attitude. Was this something that was an acceptable concept to you, or we actually had one person say, "You ought to lock up all those psychotics." That had no idea what we were talking about.
Yeah. Out of that came the original 6 viewers that started the Stargate program.
Right.
And I remember really resonating with the rest of those people. They were a really interesting and great group of people.
Interestingly enough, it was the Stanford people that were so excited about you. You were the star of those 6 people because they were running you against targets and then used blind differential discrimination. And I think you got 6 out of 6 right when you were out there. And out of the 6 that went out there, they identified 3 of them to go back for another set of trainings. And you were among those 3 that were chosen out there. But they were very excited from your original thing. It was as though they had been waiting for you all along.
That kind of surprised me, really, because when I got exposed to this remote viewing, this whole remote viewing concept, it was like, okay, they want me to kind of invent answers here, sit here and whatever comes in my head, just make it up. But it seemed like when I started doing that, that was what they wanted. And, of course, then when my egotistical side realized what was going on, it wanted to take control, and everything kind of went south after that. I remember coming back and having a lot of failures when we started practicing at the unit. It was really a horrific experience for me because it kind of left me wondering what's going on here. But you were an exceptionally good training officer because I think you had a really good insight to the concept and what was going on in a psychological sense. So it was really a pleasure being able to have that exposure with you.
Well, my training originally was in behavioral psychology, and I think that's probably why I flowed quite naturally into this process. And the whole idea of remote viewing to me was a natural thing, and it was funny to me that the scientific community had put a name on it calling remote viewing, but it seemed like, well, doesn't everybody do that? It doesn't seem to be any strange thing to me. So it was quite natural. Although you've done some amazing things in the past. I remember sitting in the room with you in the dark and asking you to describe something and describe something and describe something. And later, I didn't know then, but later it turned out to be right. And I'm like, how in the world did he do that? I mean, I'm supposed to be facilitating this process and helping this, but man, how in the world did he do that? Kind of a thing.
I know that you've been running the remote viewing seminar here at the Institute, and I really like the program here a lot. I've heard lots of very positive comments about it, and I think maybe one of the reasons why is because of the combination of the hemisync with the actual exposure to remote viewing and the different parts of remote viewing. A lot of people aren't even cognizant of the analysis and that kind of thing. Could you comment something about what moved you in that direction, that you would do a program like that?
The concept is you write about what you know, or you do what you know, and so forth and so on. And I said, well, okay, I'll structure this to be exactly the way people were taught in the military program. If I'm a famous guy from the Army who worked in the Army remote viewing program, then that's what I'm going to say. This is the way we did it. But we're in the 21st century now, and that was a long time ago. If we started in the late 70s, and the program ran all the way to 95, I mean, here we are in the 21st century, and that's a long, long time ago. And over those 30 years, learned a few things too. But in my program, I've always been reaching back of this was the foundation. This was how you establish the protocols. This was the role of how to analyze what people are talking about. This was the role about how to interview a remote viewer. And then third, these are different ways or techniques that remote viewers use. There isn't one exact right one, except the one that you do. And so the idea is to introduce them to several different types and theories and concepts. Not so much teaching, but being a coach, like you would have a bunch of 9-year-olds trying out for Little League. And you'd see them play, and you'd see them do this, and she did this. But as a coach, you knew if you told Johnny to keep his elbow up when he took a swing, he would be a much better hitter. So there were little tweaks that could be done along the way, but always supporting what was working for the person. So that's what I've been doing since Lori asked me to run the seminar program. So here I've taught this for a number of years, all based on this idea of this is the way we did it 30 years ago. But now that I'm retiring, you're stepping up and you're going to be able to offer not only this huge depth of experience of being a remote viewer for 30 years, but tens of thousands of remote viewings and probably one of the highest success rates that I've ever seen in a remote viewer. But it's going to be a 21st century model, not the way we used to do it 30 years ago.
One of the things that you just said that really has been one of the most impressive concepts that I've always gotten from you, that I've gotten from no one else, is the concept of coaching someone. Because what we've actually found from the science of it, the research at SRI and SAIC, is that everybody that walks the planet is actually psychic. If you're human, you're psychic. We know that it's talent-based, so there's a lot of the capability is kind of like bowling or golf, and whatever talent the person brings to the table is uniquely their talent. So the coaching concept, I think, is very powerful in comparison to just the teaching concept. You can tell people many things, but in coaching them, you're bringing out the best that they have to offer, and you're helping them polish whatever technique it is that they possess within themselves. And that's always been a position that I've held and a position that I've always come from. And maybe I can bring some of the modern ideas about remote viewing or some of the modern concepts to the table, but I hope to institute those, if there are changes, within the concept of coaching. I don't want to mess with that idea because I think that's the crux of it. That's the very issue that is so important in the critical exchange of ideas about remote viewing with people.
We've been talking about this whole process of remote viewing and how we first got to know each other. And so if it's 77 when we met and it's 2012, almost 2013 now, you and I have known each other an awful long time. I never had gray hair when I met you, but there it is, that time of life. And we've been through many, many different changes here at the Institute, too. Both of us meeting Bob Monroe so many years ago, and then Bob's passing, and Lori's passing, and construction of different buildings around here, pipes breaking and fixing pipes, programs coming and going through here. And there are changes going on now with the new administration and Carol De La Heron involved with the process now. Can't be any more qualified person than her at this point. She taught in Europe for 15 years before she came here, and now she's president and executive director. And I can't think of any more experienced, qualified, highly educated, compassionate person to be running the Institute than Carol. You know, I mean that honestly. If I had to go pick somebody right now, I couldn't find somebody that would have the same kind of a background as Carol has had. You know, when Bob died, his last words to Lori was, "Get it out there." And Lori did the same thing. Whatever you guys do, get it out there. And it's been growing and growing, even through the recessionary times. And now we stand on a firm platform, ready to explode into this very interesting new world. And now you come along with this program, and it's going to be a change again. Skip's old remote viewing program is going to be gone. But it's not going to be missing, because you're standing right there to say, hey, I got something for that.
I don't know how much of the program's going to change, to be really honest. I think the basic program's going to remain the same. There will be some minor changes or some changes that I'll make to modernize it, to bring it up to date. It certainly has been very well orchestrated to this point. With regard to the Institute, everything you said is absolutely correct. I've watched this place change over the years, and it's always been an improvement. Everything that I've seen happen here has happened for a very specific reason. It's always been a positive reason. What I really like about Carol and her taking over the Institute as a director is she has been very respondent to those needs, and she understands them, and she has an ability to understand the international requirements. And so our family has grown, not just in America, but across the world. And we have a lot more people coming from all these many different cultures and backgrounds from all over the world, and that's very exciting to me. And so much of what we do here is being shared in that regard. And of course, you've spoken about some of those changes. So I'm really excited about the future, and we're already seeing that progress. And as you say, this is going to be a very positive year after a terrible recession that we've gone through. And yet the Institute did very well during the recession. It not only survived, it helped a number of people in their needs, their requirements during that very trying period. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm sorry to see you leave. You've been a steady hand here at the Institute for many years. I think the job that you did in the research and in the lab, running the lab, and the many other things that you did. I think you were director for a bit there when they were making some of the changes to personnel. I think that was all very critical and important things that you did. And I think the Institute survives today because of some of those things you did. And I have a great deal of respect for that. I hope you're still here for many, many more years as a friend to the Institute. So, what I would like to remind everyone out there is that we're going to have a great remote viewing seminar here at the Institute, and I encourage people who are interested in remote viewing, and those of you who would like to learn something about their innate talents and their abilities in the remote viewing area, to consider coming to the Institute for our seminar. We'd love to have you. It's going to be fun, and it'll have everything in it that's all about coaching as I've learned it from Skip, and all the great things that Skip did, along with some new things that will improve it, possibly. So I really do encourage that. And we're going a lot of places, and it's going to be fun. Come and participate with us.